Most men miss the moment because they are waiting for her to say it out loud. A woman can want you deeply and still never say a direct word about it. Instead, she shows it in the way she looks at you, the way she moves closer, the way her voice softens, the way she touches, teases, and tests you without ever making the first move obvious. That is where most men get it wrong. They wait for a clear confession, a perfect sign, something impossible to misunderstand. And while they are waiting, the real conversation is already happening right in front of them through body language, energy, and subtle shifts most men never learn to read. That is why this matters, my friend. If you do not understand how attraction actually shows up, you will either miss the signal completely or destroy the moment by reacting too fast. But when you learn to read a woman with calm awareness, everything changes. You stop guessing. You stop chasing certainty. You start seeing when her eyes linger, when her body pulls toward you, when she seeks privacy, and when she quietly tests whether you are strong enough to handle the energy she is giving you. In this video, I am going to break down the signs a woman shows when desire is already building beneath the surface, and I will show you how a grounded man reads those signs without losing his frame. Subscribe to the channel, folks. Let's get into it. Sign 1. Her eyes hold you. Let us start with the signal most men feel, but still misread, folks. Her eyes. A woman who wants you is not always going to say it. Most of the time she does something quieter than that. She lets her eyes stay on you longer than they need to, not by accident, not because she has nowhere else to look, but because something in her is already locked in. That is where the game changes, my friend. A quick glance means very little. People look at each other all day. But when her eyes hold you, when the gaze lingers for a few seconds too long, when she looks away and then comes back to you again, that is different. That is not just visual contact. That is emotional contact starting to build. Her eyes are doing what her mouth is not ready to do yet. They are staying present with you. Picture a man named David, age 49, at a cocktail lounge in Chicago after a corporate fundraiser. He is talking with a woman named Claire, age 44. The room is full, the music is low, people are moving around them, but every time David says something, Claire's eyes stay on him just a little longer than normal. She is not darting around the room. She is not scanning for someone more interesting. She holds his gaze, then looks down with a faint smile, then comes right back to him again. Later, when someone else joins the conversation, David notices Claire still checking him with that same soft, deliberate attention. That is not random. That is interest beginning to settle in. Here is why this matters. Eye contact carries more than attention. It carries emotional weight. When a woman is physically drawn to you, her gaze often softens. The muscles around the eyes relax. The stare becomes warmer, slower, more focused. Sometimes her pupils widen a little. Sometimes she looks at your lips for a second before coming back to your eyes. None of that needs to be dramatic to be real. In fact, the quiet signs are usually the most honest ones. Now let us keep this grounded, folks. Stoic awareness means you do not build a fantasy from one look across a room. One glance is not a story, but repeated steady eye contact with warmth behind it is a pattern, and patterns matter. A weak man sees one signal and rushes. A stronger man watches, stays calm, and lets the truth reveal itself. That is where Stoicism gives you an advantage. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In this kind of moment, strength means you do not panic, because a woman is looking at you with desire. You do not start performing. You do not get needy. You simply meet the gaze with calm presence and let the moment breathe. A lot of men ruin eye contact because they get uncomfortable too fast. They break it with nervous laughter. They start talking too much. They fidget. They look away like they cannot handle the tension. But a woman notices that immediately. A grounded man does the opposite. He receives the energy without forcing more than is there. He holds eye contact just long enough to show he is present, then stays relaxed. That steadiness creates trust, and trust deepens attraction. So remember this, my friend. When her eyes hold you, she is often saying more than her words ever will. She is not only seeing you, she is letting herself be seen by you too. That is the beginning of intimacy, and most men miss it because they are waiting for something louder. If that hit home, type this in the comments, I see clearly. Stick with me, because the next sign shows what it means when she stops looking from a distance and starts finding reasons to move physically closer to you. Sign 2. She moves in closer. Let us talk about one of the oldest signals in attraction, folks. Proximity. A woman who wants you will often find ways to be closer to you without ever asking permission out loud. She may not say, "Come stand next to me." She may not say, "I want to feel your presence more," but her body says it anyway. She moves in closer. That matters because space is never neutral, my friend. People protect their personal space unless they feel some level of comfort, trust, or curiosity. So when a woman repeatedly enters that space around you, especially when she has other options, pay attention. That is not just coincidence. That is choice. A lot of men miss this because they only look for obvious flirting. They want something dramatic, something they cannot possibly misread. But female attraction often starts with smaller movements than that. She stands a little nearer than necessary. She angles her body toward you. She leans in when you speak, even when she could hear you just fine. She brushes close when moving past. She stays within your orbit instead of drifting elsewhere. Those moments do not look loud, but together they form a pattern, and that pattern matters. This is where Stoicism helps you stay sharp. Seneca warned against being carried away by impressions before you have tested them. That principle applies perfectly here. A weak man feels one small shift in distance and immediately writes a whole fantasy in his head. A stronger man does not do that. He watches for consistency. He notices whether she keeps finding reasons to return near him, whether her body stays open, and whether the closeness shows up at emotionally charged moments like laughter, teasing, or deeper conversation. There is also something deeply revealing about body orientation. If her feet, knees, and torso keep turning toward you, that is not random. The body usually points where the interest is. A woman who is not drawn in may still be polite, may still talk, may still smile, but she usually will not keep orienting herself toward you in that repeated, easy way. Attraction often shows up first in direction, then in distance. Now let us keep this grounded, folks. Not every close moment means she wants more. Context still rules everything. Maybe the room is crowded. Maybe she naturally stands close to people. Maybe she is warm with everyone. That is why the Stoic man reads clusters, not isolated gestures. If she moves closer, stays close, keeps her body open, and repeats that pattern over time, then you are seeing more than casual friendliness. You are seeing comfort mixed with interest. What makes this sign powerful is that it is hard to fake for long. Words can be managed, tone can be controlled, but physical distance tells the truth in a way people do not always realize. If she repeatedly closes space with you, that is often her body making a decision before her mouth does. So remember this, my friend. When she moves in closer, do not rush and do not ignore it. Just notice it, let it register, hold your frame. The Stoic does not chase the signal, but he does not stay blind to it either. He sees the movement, reads the pattern, and understands that closeness is often the first real confession a woman makes without saying a single word. If that hit home, type this in the comments, I notice presence. Stay with me, because the next sign shows what it means when the space closes even more, and her touch starts saying what her words still have not. Sign 3. Her touch starts soft. Let us get into one of the clearest signals a woman gives when desire starts moving from interest into something more physical, folks. Her touch, not the obvious kind, not some dramatic move that leaves no room for doubt. I am talking about soft touch, the kind that can still be explained away if you are not paying attention. A light brush across your hand, a playful push when you tease her, a palm resting on your forearm while she laughs. Small gestures on the surface, but often loaded underneath. That is what most men miss. A woman who wants you will rarely begin with bold physicality. She starts with touch that feels safe, easy, and deniable. That is why it matters so much. She is testing the waters without saying a word. She wants to feel how you respond. Do you tense up? Do you get too eager? Do you act like every little touch means the whole world? Or do you stay calm, grounded, and comfortable in the moment? That reaction tells her more than your words ever could. Picture a man named Eric, age 48, meeting a woman named Vanessa, age 43, at a friend's dinner party in Austin. The conversation is warm from the start, nothing too aggressive. Just good rhythm, eye contact, and that feeling that something is building. At one point, Eric makes a dry joke and Vanessa laughs while lightly touching his arm. A few minutes later, she does it again when he says something clever. Then, while moving past him to sit down, her hand brushes his shoulder with just a little too much softness to be random. None of these moments would prove everything on their own. But together they create a pattern. Vanessa is finding safe ways to enter his space physically. That is the point, my friend. Soft touch is rarely just about contact. It is about comfort, curiosity, and tension. A woman does not usually create repeated physical moments with a man she feels nothing for. The body does not move that way without a reason. And because women often protect their physical space carefully, even small contact can mean a lot when it comes with warmth and repetition. Now let us stay grounded. Stoicism teaches a man not to get carried away by every impression. One accidental touch means nothing. One light bump in a crowded room is not a fantasy license. But repeated touch in a calm, playful, connected interaction is different. That is where the Stoic man has the advantage. He notices without lunging. He registers without overvaluing. He lets the signal breathe. A lot of men ruin this part because they respond too fast. They lean in hard. They mirror too eagerly. They act relieved like they finally got proof. That weakens the moment. Soft touch works because it carries tension. If you rush to collapse that tension, you kill the very thing making her lean in. So remember this, folks. When her touch starts soft, she is often opening the door without wanting to force it open. She is inviting connection in the safest possible way. Your job is not to panic or perform. Your job is to stay steady enough to feel what is happening and strong enough not to rush it. If this hit home, type this in the comments. I read touch. Don't go anywhere, because the next sign reveals how her voice can turn intimate before her body ever does, and most men completely miss that shift. Sign 4. Her voice turns intimate. Let us talk about a sign most men never pay enough attention to, folks. Her voice. A woman can be standing right in front of you, saying perfectly normal things, and still reveal her attraction through the way she says them. That is the part men miss. They focus on the words and ignore the shift in tone. But when a woman wants you, her voice often changes before anything else becomes obvious. It gets softer, slower, warmer. That shift matters because tone carries emotional intent in a way words alone never can. A woman may still keep the conversation safe on the surface, but her voice starts creating a different atmosphere underneath it. She leans in a little. She lowers the volume. Her laugh becomes less public and more private. Her questions feel less casual and more personal. Suddenly the whole moment feels closer, even if nothing direct has been said. That is not random, my friend. When attraction builds, people often change their communication style without realizing it. A woman who is drawn to you may slow her speech just a little, stretch certain words, and let more softness into her tone. She may sound one way with the group, then sound different when it is just the two of you. That contrast is where the truth often lives. If her energy becomes more intimate in her voice, when the space narrows between you, pay attention. Her body is not the only thing speaking. Now let us keep this grounded. Stoicism teaches a man not to overreact to every small signal. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That applies here too. One soft sentence means little by itself, but repeated change in tone, especially when it only shows up around you, starts to mean something. The Stoic man does not get pulled into fantasy. He simply listens more carefully than most men ever do. This sign becomes even clearer when you notice contrast. Maybe she is lively and loud with other people, but around you, her voice lowers and her words come slower. Maybe her tone turns more reflective, more curious, more emotionally open. Maybe she starts asking questions that carry weight instead of just keeping conversation alive. That is where the shift becomes hard to ignore. Attraction often sounds different before it looks different. And here is where a lot of men mess it up. They hear that softness and suddenly try too hard. They flirt harder, talk louder, or rush to force momentum. That kills the moment. A stronger man lets her tone come to him. He notices it, stays calm, and answers with the same grounded presence he had before. He does not chase the intimacy. He makes room for it. That kind of awareness is exactly what we build inside the membership, folks. If you want deeper lessons on female psychology, stoicism, masculine presence, and how to read the signals most men miss, join the membership and go deeper with us. So remember this: when her voice turns intimate, it is often because the connection in her mind is already turning intimate too. The words may still sound ordinary, but the tone is telling you the moment is no longer ordinary. If this made sense to you, type this in the comments. I hear depth. Stay with me, because the next sign reveals why playful resistance can be one of the strongest signs she feels your presence more than she wants to admit. Sign 5. She teases to feel you. Let us be real, folks. A woman who feels nothing for you usually keeps things simple. She stays polite, friendly, and easy to read. But when a woman starts teasing you, lightly challenging you, or throwing playful little jabs your way, something deeper is often happening. She is not trying to push you away. She is trying to feel you. She wants to see what kind of man stands in front of her when the energy gets a little sharper, a little more charged, a little more personal. That is why playful defiance matters so much, my friend. A lot of men misread this sign completely. They think if she pushes back, rolls her eyes, questions them, or jokes at their expense, she must be annoyed or losing interest. Sometimes that is true, but not usually. When the tone stays warm, the eyes stay engaged, and the tension feels alive instead of cold. In those moments, teasing is often attraction wearing armor. It is her way of getting closer without becoming too soft too fast. Picture a man named Cole, age 49, talking with a woman named Jenna, age 43, at a rooftop birthday party in Nashville. Cole mentions that he reads philosophy before bed, and Jenna laughs and says, "So you are one of those men." That line is not rejection, it is bait. She is testing his energy. She wants to see if he gets defensive, if he starts explaining himself too much, or if he can stay relaxed and throw something playful back. Cole smiles and says, "Only the dangerous kind." Jenna laughs harder, steps a little closer, and keeps the exchange going. Why? Because she felt his steadiness. He did not collapse under the tease. He stayed present inside it. That is the deeper psychology here. A woman who teases you is often looking for your emotional shape. Can you stay grounded when she nudges? Can you hold your frame when she pushes a little? Can you engage without becoming needy, stiff, or overly serious? That matters, because confidence is not shown when everything is easy. Confidence shows up when the energy gets playful, uncertain, and a little provocative. This is where Stoicism gives you a real edge. A reactive man hears teasing and takes it personally. He starts trying to prove himself. A weaker man gets offended. A boy gets flustered. But a grounded man understands that not every challenge is an attack. Sometimes it is attraction testing your strength in a softer form. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you should not be disturbed by what happens outside you, but by your judgment of it. That applies perfectly here. If you judge her playful resistance as disrespect too quickly, you miss the invitation underneath it. Now let us keep this clean. This does not mean every woman who argues is into you. Context still rules. If the energy is harsh, dismissive, or cold, that is different. But if she is smiling, laughing, leaning in, and throwing little sparks at you with warmth in her tone, then teasing is often her way of building tension while keeping herself safe. So remember this, folks. When she teases you, she may be asking a deeper question without saying it directly. Can you handle my energy without losing yours? That is why playful resistance can be such a strong sign. It is not distance. It is contact in disguise. If this hit home, type this in the comments. I stay composed. Let us keep going, because the next sign reveals what it means when she stops only reacting to your energy and starts unconsciously matching it. Sign 6. She mirrors your energy. Now we get into one of the quietest signs on this whole list, folks. Mirroring. A lot of men never even notice it when it happens, but it is one of the clearest ways a woman shows that she is drawn into your presence. Not with words, not with some big dramatic move, but with alignment. She starts matching your rhythm, your posture, your tone, even the pace of the conversation. And that matters because people do not mirror what they feel nothing toward. They mirror what they are emotionally tuning into. That is the deeper truth here, my friend. When a woman begins reflecting your energy, she is not just being polite. She is sinking. Her body and mind are moving closer to yours without her needing to make a direct declaration. If you lean back and a few moments later she leans back too, that matters. If you lower your voice and she softens hers, that matters. If your smile changes the rhythm of her smile, that matters. These things are small on the surface, but underneath, they reveal emotional alignment. This is not some mystical idea. Human beings naturally mirror people they feel connected to. It is one of the oldest social signals there is. We do it when we feel comfortable. We do it when we feel curiosity. And very often we do it when attraction is quietly building. That is why a woman who is into you may begin copying your posture, your expressions, or even the way you phrase certain things without realizing she is doing it. Now let us stay grounded, folks. Stoicism teaches a man to observe patterns without becoming drunk on them. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." That applies here too. One mirrored gesture means very little, but repeated alignment over the course of a conversation means something very different. The Stoic man does not grab at the sign. He registers it. He stays composed and lets the pattern confirm itself. What makes mirroring so powerful is that it is usually unconscious. A woman can choose her words carefully. She can hide behind social politeness. She can keep things safe on the surface. But mirroring leaks through when she is genuinely engaged. Her body starts saying, "I am with you," before her mouth ever gets there. And that kind of signal is hard to fake for long. There is also a deeper layer to this. When she mirrors your energy, she is not only showing comfort, she is showing receptivity. She is telling you in the quietest way possible that your presence is affecting her enough for her to synchronize with it. That is why grounded men stand out here. A reactive man notices mirroring and immediately changes himself to chase more of it. That is the wrong move. A stronger man stays steady. He does not start performing. He keeps his rhythm, and in doing so, he lets her come further into his frame. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In a social moment like this, people also become colored by the energy they are sitting inside. If she keeps reflecting yours, that means your presence is landing. It means she feels safe enough, curious enough, or drawn enough to begin matching what she feels from you. So remember this, folks. When she mirrors your energy, she is often doing more than agreeing with you. She is unconsciously stepping into sync with you. That is not a random detail. That is a real sign of attraction growing beneath the surface. If this made sense, type this in the comments. I notice alignment. Stay tuned, because the next sign reveals what it means when her gaze stops feeling casual and starts lingering with a kind of softness most men never learn to read. Sign 7. Her gaze stays longer. Now we move into a sign that feels simple on the surface, but hits much deeper when you understand it, folks. Her gaze stays longer, not just a quick look, not the normal back and forth of polite conversation. I mean the kind of look that lingers just enough to make the air feel different. The kind that stays on you for a second too long, then drops, then comes back again with softness behind it. That is not casual. That is attention with weight. A lot of men miss this because they think all eye contact means the same thing. It does not. A woman can look at you because you are speaking. She can look at you because she is being respectful. She can look at you because that is what normal conversation requires. But when her gaze starts lasting longer than the moment needs, when it carries calm instead of hurry, when it feels like she is taking you in rather than just looking at you, something deeper is usually happening. Picture a man named Adam, age 48, sitting across from a woman named Brooke, age 42, at a quiet wine bar in Denver. They were introduced by mutual friends, and the conversation starts easy. Nothing dramatic, just good rhythm, light teasing, and a comfortable pace. But after a while, Adam notices something. Every time he speaks, Brooke's eyes stay on him longer than normal. When he pauses, she does not immediately look away. Once or twice her gaze drops toward his mouth for a second, then returns to his eyes with a faint smile. Later, even while someone else at the table is talking, Adam catches Brooke looking at him again with that same softness. That is not random. That is not boredom. That is focused attraction. That is the key, my friend. A gaze that stays longer often carries intention. It is not only saying I hear you, it is saying I feel something while I am looking at you. And when a woman adds softness to that look, relaxed eyes, a slight smile, maybe even a slower blink, the signal gets stronger. Her attention is no longer just social, it is personal. Now let us stay grounded. Stoicism teaches a man not to turn every signal into a fantasy. One long look means little by itself, but repeated lingering gaze, especially when it comes with warmth, stillness, and a kind of ease, creates a pattern. The Stoic man reads patterns. He does not jump. He does not get flustered. He notices and stays calm enough to let the truth build. There is also another layer here. When a woman lets her gaze linger, she is often allowing herself to be seen too. That is part of what makes it intimate. She is not only studying you, she is also dropping her guard just enough to let the moment hold. And that is why a lot of men ruin it. They get nervous and break the eye contact too fast. Or they overdo it and turn it into a weird staring contest. The stronger move is simpler. Meet the gaze. Hold it with ease. Let your face stay relaxed. Then move naturally with the conversation. So remember this, folks. When her gaze stays longer, do not rush to act and do not dismiss it either. Just understand what it may mean. Her attention is deepening, her guard is softening, and the moment is becoming more intimate than the words alone would suggest. If that hit home, type this in the comments. I hold steady. Don't go anywhere, because the next sign reveals what it means when her whole presence starts bending in your direction, and that shift is even harder to fake. Sign 8. Her presence pulls near. Let us talk about one of the deepest signs on this list, folks. Not a single gesture, not one look, not one touch. I mean her overall presence, the way her energy starts pulling toward you, even when she is trying to act normal. This is the sign a lot of men feel but cannot explain. They just notice that when they are around her, she somehow keeps ending up near them, focused on them, tuned into them, even without doing anything loud or obvious. That matters because energy does not lie the way words can, my friend. A woman can keep her language casual. She can stay socially smooth. She can tell herself she is just being friendly. But if her presence keeps bending in your direction, if her attention keeps finding you, if her body keeps settling closer to your space, then something real is happening underneath the surface. This is what many men miss. They keep waiting for a dramatic sign and ignore the larger pattern unfolding right in front of them. She joins conversations you are part of more than the ones you are not. She laughs a little harder when you speak. Her focus sharpens when your voice enters the room. She drifts into your orbit again and again, not in a clingy way but in a steady way, quietly, naturally, repeatedly. That is not random. That is emotional gravity. Now let us keep this grounded, folks. Stoicism teaches a man to observe patterns without being ruled by fantasy. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That principle matters here because one moment of closeness means very little by itself. But repeated shifts in presence, attention, and emotional focus begin to tell a much clearer story. The Stoic man does not force meaning onto every detail. He notices what repeats, and what repeats here is direction. A woman who feels drawn to you often orients more of herself toward you than she realizes, not just her body, but her emotional energy. The room may be full of people, but somehow her attention keeps landing where you are. Maybe she starts on the edge of a group, but gradually moves nearer. Maybe her tone brightens when you speak. Maybe she seems just a little more alive when you are in the space, and a little flatter when you are not. These are subtle things. But subtle things are where real attraction often lives. There is another important layer here. Presence pulling near does not always look steady every second. Sometimes it comes in waves. She moves closer, then pulls back a little. She looks engaged, then acts cooler for a moment. Men often panic when they see that. They think the signal disappeared. Not necessarily. Attraction can move with hesitation, especially when a woman does not want to seem too obvious. What matters is the overall pattern. Does her energy keep returning to you? Does her focus keep reattaching itself to your presence? That is the real question. Epictetus taught that it is not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. In this situation, your job is not to chase her energy. Your job is to stay grounded enough to let it come toward you without disturbing the moment. A weak man lunges at every hint of interest. A stronger man recognizes the pull and stays centered. So remember this, my friend. When her presence pulls near, she is often telling you something her words are still trying to hide. Her mind may stay careful, but her energy keeps choosing you. And that is one of the hardest signs to fake. If this made sense to you, type this in the comments. I trust presence. Stay with me, because the next sign shows what it means when she stops keeping the connection public and starts creating space to be alone with you. Sign 9. She wants you alone. Now we get to one of the clearest signs on this whole list, folks. A woman who is strongly drawn to you will often start creating little moments of isolation. Not always with bold words. Not always with some dramatic invitation. Usually it happens in a quieter way. She pulls you aside to ask something that did not really need privacy. She lingers after everyone else leaves. She finds a reason to walk with you when the group breaks up. She keeps creating small two-person spaces inside larger social settings. That is not nothing. That is intention. A lot of men miss this because they think attraction should always look loud. They expect some obvious confession or direct move. But when a woman wants more than surface conversation, she usually does not start by announcing it. She starts by reducing the noise around you. She wants fewer eyes, fewer interruptions, less social pressure. Why? Because attraction breathes better in privacy than it does in a crowd. Tension grows faster when the room gets smaller. Picture a man named Brian, age 49, at a friend's backyard gathering in Tampa. He has been talking on and off with a woman named Natalie, age 43, throughout the evening. Nothing too obvious at first. Good eye contact, easy laughs, warm energy. Later, as people start moving around and the group breaks into smaller circles, Natalie asks Brian if he wants to help her bring a few things inside. It is a small task that did not need two people. Inside, she keeps the conversation going. Then, when they head back out, she slows her pace, just enough to keep the moment from ending too quickly. That is not about carrying plates. That is about creating a pocket of privacy. That is the deeper point, my friend. A woman who wants you alone is often looking for emotional and physical space where the connection can become more real. Not necessarily because she is ready for some huge leap, but because she wants to feel what the energy is like without the crowd absorbing it. She wants a cleaner signal, a more private rhythm. That is often where her true interest becomes easier to feel. Now let us stay grounded. Stoicism teaches a man not to confuse every private moment with fantasy. One isolated interaction means very little by itself. Context matters, pattern matters, tone matters. Is she doing this repeatedly? Is she creating privacy when she does not need to? Is her energy warmer in those one-on-one moments than it is in the group? Those are the things that matter. The Stoic man notices the invitation without rushing to overinterpret it. This sign is powerful because privacy is rarely random. People move into private space when they want more honesty, more focus, or more intensity. If she keeps drawing you out of the crowd and into quieter moments, chances are she is no longer satisfied with just sharing your attention publicly. She wants access to your presence more directly. And here is where many men make the mistake. They either ignore the invitation completely or they try to force the moment too hard the second privacy appears. Both are weak moves. A stronger man does neither. He steps into the private moment with calm. He stays present. He lets the space say what it wants to say without trying to control it. So remember this, folks. When she wants you alone, she is often telling you the connection matters differently now. She is not just enjoying you in the room. She is looking for what it feels like when the room disappears. And it is just you and her. If this hit home, type this in the comments. I notice intent. Let's keep going because the final sign reveals what it means when she stops only showing interest and starts testing whether your confidence is real enough to hold her attention. Sign 10. She tests your strength. Let us end with the sign most men feel but almost never understand clearly, folks. She tests your strength, not your muscles, not your money, not your ability to impress her with perfect words. She tests your emotional steadiness. She wants to see what kind of man appears when the energy stops being easy and starts carrying pressure. That is where the truth comes out. A lot of men think attraction is all about green lights, soft smiles, eye contact, and easy chemistry. Those things matter. But when a woman is genuinely drawn to you, especially on a deeper physical level, she often does something else. She tests whether your confidence is real. She wants to know if you can hold yourself when she teases you, questions you, pushes back a little, or creates just enough uncertainty to see whether you lose your center. That is not always cruelty, my friend. A lot of the time, it is curiosity. Picture a man named Derek, age 50, sitting with a woman named Amanda, age 44, at a quiet rooftop bar in Dallas. The conversation has already been warm. Good eye contact, light teasing, strong tension. Then Amanda shifts the energy. Derek tells a story and she interrupts with a playful smile and says, "You probably say that to every woman." Now the average man hears that and starts defending himself. He explains too much. He tries to prove he is different. He gets pulled off balance. Derek does not. He smiles and says, "Only the ones who can keep up." Then he lets the moment breathe. Amanda laughs, but more than that, she relaxes. Why? Because she just tested the frame and it held. That is the point. A woman who feels nothing for you usually does not bother testing you. She may be polite, friendly, or distant, but she does not invest energy into seeing what you are made of. Testing shows engagement. It shows she is trying to measure your edge. Can you handle pressure without getting defensive? Can you take a challenge without becoming needy? Can you stay playful without becoming weak? Those things matter because attraction is not just about interest. It is also about trust in your stability. This is where Stoicism becomes real life, folks. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That line fits this sign perfectly. Her challenge is rarely the problem. Your reaction is the whole story. A weak man reacts from ego. He needs to correct her, convince her, or win the moment back. A stronger man stays composed. He does not over-explain. He does not panic. He does not collapse into performance. He stays himself. That kind of steadiness is rare. Now let us stay grounded. Not every sharp comment is a flirtatious test. Context still matters. If her energy is cold, dismissive, or disrespectful, that is different. But when the challenge comes with warmth, eye contact, a slight smile, or playful tension, the meaning changes. Then it is usually not rejection, it is measurement. And here is the deeper truth. A woman tests strength because she wants to feel safe with it, not safe in a soft, passive sense. Safe in the presence of a man who does not lose control of himself the second the mood shifts. She wants to feel that your confidence is rooted, not rehearsed. That you are not just smooth when things go your way. That you are steady when they do not. So remember this, my friend. The final sign is not softness, it is pressure. She tests your strength because she wants to know if your presence can carry weight. And if you stay calm, clear, and grounded when that moment comes, you tell her everything she needed to know without saying much at all. What this video really showed you, folks, is that a woman who wants more with you usually will not announce it with words. She shows it through her eyes, her touch, her tone, her presence, the privacy she creates, and even the way she tests your confidence. When you learn to read those signals with calm awareness, you stop guessing, stop rushing, and start understanding attraction the way it actually unfolds. If you want to go deeper into female psychology, Stoicism, and masculine self-mastery, join the membership today. And if this video gave you real value, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.